So I'm going to go over some common problems in problem set 4, and I'm picking on Dow here today, but I don't think he minds so much. One of the problems was here with delete all songs. I think some of you, what you did is you took song library and you set it equal to null, not song library sub I as you iterated through the array. And so that does like clear the array, but it doesn't set every element in the array equal to null, which is what you need to do if you need to delete all songs. Not set the song library to not be pointing to an array, which is what you're doing if you say song library equals null. Another thing is here in the toString, some of you did not iterate through the array. And yeah, you did song library sub 0 plus song library sub 1 plus song library sub 2 plus song library sub 3, and that would work. But what if we changed the size of the song library to be 7 or 10 or 11? Then your toString would not work, right? So if you ever have an array or an array list and you want to run the toString, you have to iterate through the array or array list and then create an empty string, concatenate onto the empty string, and then return that empty string. Okay, so that's that, and then we're doing B. B was part 2 using an array list, and let's see, total playtime. Okay, so here for setting them all equal to null, yeah, I think here as well, some of you did song library equals null, and you thought that was fine, but that's actually not fine, right? What we want to do is because what that does is it sets song library to not be equal to an array list. What we want is to take that array list that song library was set to right here and delete all of the elements in the array list. So still have it be an array list, just have it be an empty array list. And you could do this, that's fine. You could also do, what is he doing here? He is iterating through the array list and he's setting all of the elements in the array list to null. Right, that's fine. And actually, no, this is not fine. So what this is doing, what you want to do is, all right, hold on, let me see if I can get a sketch IO here. Okay, so what is an array list, right? So if we have an array list like that, it is a set of objects, right? And so what Dow was doing there is he was setting them all equal to null. So he was having the array list still be size 5. It's just every element in the array list was null, right? But when you clear an array list, what you want to do is you want to pop them off. So it's like pop you off, pop you off, pop you off, pop you off, pop you off. So array list is equal to an empty array list. Empty array list. Right? And so how do you do that? You do ArrayList.clear is one way to do it, right? .clear. And then also you can iterate using a for loop, I equals 0, I is less than the size. Can you do I is less than the size? Oh, yeah, no, you can't do I is less than the size. No, you can't, because the size changes as you're iterating through the for loop. So, no, the best way to do this is to do ArrayList.clear. Okay. There's other ways you could fiddle around with it, but ArrayList.clear is the clearest way to do it. So then let's keep going. And again, with an array list, you want to iterate through the for loop, right? Concatenating onto the an empty string. Okay, so that's that. And then we'll go to C. Okay, so here we have an array list of titles of universities. And all of this is pretty straightforward. What you want to keep in mind is that arrays and for loops are best friends, right? So to iterate through an array, you use a for loop. Array lists and for each loops are best friends. This guy right here, right? For each loop. And why? It's because you don't need to type as many characters, and the code gets less confusing. And if it's less confusing, there's less chance of error. So if you're not aware, study up on for loops and become comfortable iterating through them. The only time you don't want to use a for each loop to iterate through an array list is when they ask you to remove. You see right here? They asked us to remove if the name was length of 4. right? And so if you need to remove from an array list, don't use a for each loop, right? Use a regular for loop, and when you do remove, you need to decrement the I variable. All right. So you got to remember that. Okay. There's another way you can do it using an iterator, but yeah, the more straightforward way to do it is to decrement the I variable when you remove. Okie dokie, and then we're moving on to D. So this is roster. Let's see. So this is roster. Okay, we have a list of student lists. We have the toString, the max, the drop student, the add. Yeah, I think nobody really had issues with that one. So if you have a problem with that, let me know, and then I will get you back on email. And then let's go over to the last one is E, download info. So we had these download info objects, which had titles and download counts. And then we had the music downloads class, where you can update downloads and you can also get download info. Let's see, what was any common mistakes here? No, I don't think there were any common mistakes other than it wasn't really a mistake, because if it works, it works, and it didn't specify exactly in the description that update downloads had to use get download info, right? So some of you guys, because you can see here get download info has a for loop that searches through the array list looking for a certain download info object using the same title, right? So some of you guys, yeah, okay, you went ahead and coded this, fine. And then when you went to code this one over here, you did this in here. So you had nested for loop in here, right? You had a for loop in a for loop. And you were basically redoing the job of the get download info here. But you didn't have to, right? All you had to do was iterate through the titles and then run the get download info method here, right? So you can run get download info in update downloads, and that lets you write a program that is shorter than it would be otherwise. And but I went back because I thought that they said update downloads had to use get download info, but then I went back into the description and it did not say that. But very often the free response questions in the free response questions, of which music downloads is one, they will put that type of criteria in there where they say, okay, update downloads must use get download info. So if you don't do that, then you'll get dinged a point. So yeah, other than that, I think everyone did pretty well, and good luck on tomorrow's quiz.